Well, let's go see what happened. Oh, it looks like a couple people are in the chat. Do you see what Child said? Are you looking at the chat?
No.
So
What did he
Child,
say?
this is someone outside coach. What up, Tom Bet? And he said initial jungle path thing is so strong, but so hard. Is that? Do you feel like it's doing what I just like did is hard?
Trying to predict what a bronze 2 would do is kind of hard. Or the other. Yeah. They're very weird.
Yeah, but they're again for you. That's what you're playing against all the time, right? So I refuse to believe there's no pattern. There must be a pattern to what they do. Okay, so hold on. I wanted to check something. So we can see that top didn't leash because they start combating immediately. And so it's likely that our enemy started bottom. I keep going back because I'm looking at different things. Because I know you don't do well in this game, so I want to see whether, like, how many different things we could have changed early game to get you to the point where you can perform this well. So for some reason you haven't used your Q yet. There's no reason not to use your Q immediately just to get it on cooldown, right? Like when we talk about like long sequencing and using your cooldown immediately so you can get it twice. That's the same thing with the buff. Like, you could have thrown your axe and picked it up already, right? So we're missing like almost a full auto, like more than a full auto attack of damage already. And in a second, we're going to be missing 2 things of full auto attacks. You could have queued like twice by now, and you've queued 0 times. Why is that? Didn't we talk about this in the last lesson where I told you if you're not going to use your Q, you might as well start W?
Yeah, I just, yeah.
What else are you doing? There's literally nothing else to be doing. Press Q. Yeah, okay, so I do have this in our notes. You aren't kiting and you're not using your Q. And so the advanced route of not starting health potions and just getting a control ward is not going to be possible for you until you get this down. And this is something you could be getting down in practice tool in like an hour for sure. So, I mean, you just have to put the time in, man. Like, this is something we already talked about. Like, you're not doing the 2 autos and walk backwards. You're getting hit for every auto. Like, you're kiting here, but you're not kiting based on the timing, and so you're still getting hit every single time you hit them. You did it there, kind of. And you've missed, like, I would have queued like 5 more times than you already. So it's a pretty big difference in terms of DPS. Okay, and we got immediate invaded. Interesting. All right, cool. So how would this change based on my plan? If we go back to here, to your plan. The biggest difference is going to be that my clear, this thing's already dead if it's me. Like, I just cleared it so much quicker than you that his invade actually doesn't even make sense. He's just abusing the fact that you're not clearing well to do a kind of invade that actually shouldn't work. Now it is interesting because he's doing it against a champion that typically does intentionally get low. So that invade is actually not that bad of an invade from this bronze player, to be honest. Kind of unfortunate that your teammate disconnected, but again, I want you to remember that if you cleared this first buff correctly, you have like 200 at least more HP. Not to mention you would have killed it earlier, so you probably have more like 300 something more HP right now, and you're already killing the Gromp already, and like you'd probably be getting to the point where you're in the range of killing this Gromp. I wonder if I went into practice tool right now, how quickly would it take me to get to the point where I'm killing the Gromp, or I could smite the Gromp? Because we're talking like 30, 20, or 25 seconds into the game, and you had a leash. I think this Gromp should be down. So the main reason why this would be different if it was me would be just the efficiency of my clear on the one camp that you've done would have made such a big difference in my health. in which case this invade doesn't mean as much, especially if I was able to do it fast enough to smite the Gromp before he was able to get in range. Does that all make sense? Because it's like 1 point, but that 1 point is a very big difference. Like one difference in skill would made an incredible difference in the first 25 seconds of this game. Like you just being better at one thing. Something that we've talked about already too. Yeah? Hello?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, I will say to move on from that point, that the moment I see an Udyr and I'm 0 HP, I'm smiting the Gromp for health and then I'm flashing the wall. And I'm cutting my losses. So, I also just smite flash this immediately. Like, oh, I'm gonna die. Smite flash. You know, just get out immediately. Don't wait for anything. Okay, so what is the hesitation here? Why not flash? Or you just don't want to use your summoner?
Yeah, I already know I'm dead.
You're not dead though. If you smite the Gromp to get the health and then you flash over the wall, you're fine. Or at least you were before. I think he can probably catch up to you at this point. But if you had done it originally, you would have been fine. And I talk about this all the time. And I'm sure I've mentioned it to you before. Like don't save your flash for the last possible moment. Just use it when you know you're boned. Like the moment you're like, oh crap, this is gonna be bad, just flash, man.
Okay.
To learn from our opponent real fast, let me explain to you like how the Udyr messed up too. The thing that the Udyr should have done differently is that he should have just flash stunned you immediately. Did not give like if you play it correctly, where you're going to flash over this wall and smite and try to live, then the way he tries to counter at that is by stunning you before you have the chance to flash. And he had 10 years to do that, and instead waiting for the last possible moment to do that. And so you had all day to flash, and he had all day to flash, and neither of you wanted to flash. That is a classic story of people not high rank at the game, just wanting to hold on to your summoners for dear life. But your summoners are there for you to bail yourself out of situations. Okay. So if we move forward, like how? Because people ask me this question all the time, right? Like, what do you do when you like get invaded and die, or like when you get behind early? Because you kind of mentioned that earlier, right? You said like you notice when you get a couple kills behind, things get real bad, which is natural. But let's kind of go through that situation